Now that we have our playable space created with the environment tiles, we've created sort of a middle ground in the overall depth of the appearance of our game. So we're going to work on importing some really large sprites now to create a sense of depth of middle ground, foreground, and background around the game setting that's actually playable. So let's get started on that. We're going to go to our content browser to the source folder, and we're going to import. First, we're going to import this background image, and there is some transparency on this, so we're going to go to Sprite Actions and apply a Paper 2D texture settings. So if we double click this, we can see it has an overall silhouette appearance of almost a ruined sort of skyline or cityscape. So that should work for what we want to do. So from this source, we're going to extract sprites, and we don't need anything special here, so we can just do this. Naming template the 0 auto extract and extract. Well, first we're going to go to perspective mode. This is where we're going to do a little bit of cheating. Even though it's a 2D game, we're going to use the actual depth on the y-axis to make this work. So let's see, we have our sprite. We'll drag this here to the environment folder under sprites. And city background, we'll place this here. Right now we can see in 3D space, this is actually a little bit in front of our sprites. We don't want that. We want that to appear to be in the background. So I'm going to move this way back here. I'm also going to scale it up here quite a lot, up to 4.5 times the size. And I'm going to reposition it a little bit farther back behind the playable tiles. That's good there. Now if I go to front view again, this actually snaps to the 1 pixel grid, so we can tile this thing. So I placed it now behind the playable tiles that we have. So if I go to perspective mode, we can see that it's actually very far behind on the y-axis, the playable tiles. So if I hit play now, we can see it. You're starting to see a little bit of depth now. You can see that it scrolls by in the background, but not nearly as fast as the walkable area that the player character is moving on right now. That's looking good so far, but we can do a little better. Let's go ahead and add a sky that matches the color scheme here of these background sprites. So we'll go again to the source folder, we'll import, and we'll grab this sky PNG. And we don't need to apply Paper 2D texture settings. I don't think there's no transparency here, but we'll do it anyway just for consistency. And I'll extract a sprite from this. Sprite Actions, extract sprites. And it'll just be called sky and doesn't need a special name really. And we'll extract that. We'll drag the sky to our sprites environment folder and move it there. And it's lost. Let's see. There we go. Sky. So we'll drag the sky in here. Now the sky we want to be a backdrop behind the overall skyline here. That's the silhouette of the skyline that's showing. And we're going to scale this way up too. So let's see here. Let's look at, actually let's see if we look at this from the front, if this helps us at all. Not much, it's pretty dark. We'll just stay in perspective mode for now. And we're going to scale this really long, which is fine, and also pretty tall. Let's see, that should be okay. We're going to move it up a little bit closer to the backdrop 573. And let's see. There we go. A little closer. Yeah, it doesn't need to be too far behind there, I guess. And a little bit down. So we'll see how the gradation looks. So let's see, once that's in place behind our skyline, I hit play. We can see a little bit of a gradation back there, but it's a little, the background looks a little dark. The background skyline, the buildings look a little dark. So let me see, let's see if we can get a little more contrast. If I move this up, ever so slightly, ever so slightly. Okay, so we can do a little bit of work here. We can actually change the brightness level of this texture, because typically when you're trying to achieve a little bit of atmospheric perspective, you want to make things fade out in sort of a light hazy way. So let's see if we do city background source sprite, and let's see if we double click this and we find the texture this way. Back to our texture, there it is, city background. We'll double click this. And for the background, let's try a value of, right here under adjustments, where brightness is, we'll try a setting of 3. We can see it's much lighter now. So we save this. Now let's go and have a look closer here. Let's play it. Okay, we can see there's not enough contrast really between the background sky and the background skyline. So let's go in and we'll adjust the background brightness again a little bit. It's at 3 now. Right. So we'll take it down to 2 and play. Okay, so now we can see, yeah, it's barely there. It's like a deep haze in the background. In the very, I guess, distant distance. So that's a good start for adding some depth through the use of a vista background and sky. Next, we'll explore adding some other elements in the foreground and midground.